Marami hong benepisyo kaming nakukuha, gaya ng scholarship para sa mga anak namin.
Nakapag-remodel ako ng bahay, nagkaroon ako ng mga appliances, nagkaroon pa kami ng business sa Batangas. Ang puhunan ay dyan lahat ng galing.
Hindi ito isang organization na puro dole out ang ginagawa, kung hindi sinasanay din ng mga tao na tumulong sa kanilang sarili.
The cooperative. People working together towards a common goal. In the Philippines, cooperative started in the late 1900s. Since then, over 1,123 cooperatives have been established throughout the country. But what really is a cooperative? Is it merely a business enterprise? Or does it play a more significant role in the lives of its members? Dr. A.F. Laidlaw, a prominent cooperator from Canada, differentiates a cooperative from other enterprises by relating the three aspects of ownership, control, and use of service. A large-scale capitalist business is made up of three distinct and disparate elements: the investors who own, the management who controls, and the customers who use the service. These elements do not have identical interests, which result to a disjointed system. In a small-scale business of a community or neighborhood scale, the first two parts are often identical or closely related, but there still remains a basic separation of parts. A cooperative business, meanwhile, aims to have the elements identical, meaning the co-op member becomes the owner and also the customer. This is what makes the cooperative unique. Members make up the cooperative. They contribute to its resources and they decide on its affairs. They make it succeed or they make it fail. In this video module, you will see what the cooperative is, its principles and practices, the different types of cooperatives, and its organizational structure. Joining the cooperative. People join the cooperative for different reasons. Mostly, the reason for joining arises because of their personal needs. Through the co-op, their needs are satisfied and a strong personal commitment to the organization develops. Personal needs and commitment are closely related to the philosophy of self-reliance that lies at the core of organized cooperation. A self-reliant co-op member sets his own standard of life and looks forward to a goal he can accomplish. Thus, when a farmer member borrows from the co-op to buy inputs to improve his production, he defines his need for credit. The more clearly a co-op member defines his goal in life, the more clearly he understands his needs. And the more he defines his needs, the better he understands the relevance of the co-op to his life. He becomes more aware of the capability and potential of the other members, their needs and problems, and how they all share the same goal. Because of this, each member becomes aware that individually they are weak, but together they can achieve a common goal. Co-op philosophy. It should be made clear to everyone from the start that the cooperative is for service and not for profit. It is a means to overcome individual weaknesses and to spread the benefits among them and society as a whole. When this social objective becomes clear, the business operation of the cooperative becomes only a means to promote the welfare of others through its services.
A cooperative mobilizes resources of people and their assets. And in this way, they create wealth and distribute this among the people of the community. This is very important because I think we have seen very often that business come into the community, but they take away the resources. But the cooperative does that, changes this, because it is essential for a cooperative enterprise to mobilize their resources of people within the community and invest in the enterprises of the very people who make or compose it. We have seen many examples of this, like a marketing cooperative, for instance, owned by a farmers cooperative. What they do is mobilize their own funds and market their own produce. So whatever income that is derived from this transaction goes back to them in terms of not only direct income, but also income for their own for the community as a whole.
Co-op principles and practices. What are co-op principles? These are a system of ideas that determine the essential characteristics of cooperatives that distinguish them from other forms of organization or enterprise. Co-op principles are universal and invariable. These are applied by all cooperatives everywhere and remain unaffected by time and space. Co-op practices, on the other hand, refer to how these principles are applied by cooperators in a given country, depending on the particular conditions and circumstances existing in the place. As such, co-op practice may vary from country to country and from time to time. Let us take a closer look at each principle and outline the different practices followed by the co-ops in the Philippines. Principle 1. Voluntary membership. Membership in the cooperative is voluntary and available without artificial restrictions to all persons who can make use of its services and are willing to accept the responsibilities of membership. Practices. No compulsory membership. No discrimination against any person based on his religion, race, or political belief. No artificial limitation for admission of new members. And there should be no artificial restriction on the right to withdraw membership. Principle 2. Democratic system. Co-op societies are democratic organizations. Their affairs are administered by persons elected or appointed in a manner agreed upon by the members. The people in turn are accountable to them. Members enjoy equal rights of voting and participation in decisions affecting their co-op. Practices. The one-man, one-vote policy. The proxy voting. The General Assembly acts as the supreme authority. Decision-making is done by majority vote. Members have equal status. There is direct or indirect participation by the members in the control of the organization, and control is maintained through regular audit. Principle 3. Limited interest on capital. The cooperative makes it possible for members to combine resources so they can avail of economic and social services for their well-being. Thus, the proper incentive for joining the co-op is the ability to make use of those services rather than the economic returns on one's capital contribution. Practices. Limited dividends on share capital. equality of treatment regardless of one's capital contribution, and limitation of individual share contribution to not more than 20% of the total capital. Principle 4, equitable distribution. Economic results arising from the operation of the co-op belong to all the members and should be distributed in such a way that no one member gains at the expense of others. Practices. The provision of reserves for operations, facilities, and socially relevant development services. Distribution of the dividends and patronage refund. Principle 5, cooperative education. The strength of the cooperative as a self-help organization largely depends on the active participation of the members. It is through cooperative education that members understand the organization and their duties and responsibilities. To implement cooperative education, an education committee should be appointed. Resources for cooperative education and training must be provided. Require the attendance to the pre-membership seminar before admission. Hold ownership and membership meetings. And continuously train the officers and staff. Principle 6, mutual cooperation. All cooperative organizations should actively cooperate in any practical way with other co-ops at the local, national, and international levels. Their aim should be to achieve unity of action by cooperators throughout the world. Practices. Membership in secondary and tertiary cooperative organizations, and participation in economic and integration projects. The types of cooperatives. There are different types of cooperatives depending on the purpose and services they offer to the members. The credit union or cooperative. Credit co-ops encourage savings, provide credit at low interest, and teach members the wise use of money. Capital may be placed at any of the following accounts: fixed, savings, or time deposits. Membership is open to the general public, and its services are available for members only. The consumer cooperative. The consumer cooperative aims to provide the members with quality goods and services at reasonable prices. It operates on share capital and has the general public as members and beneficiaries. The third kind of cooperative is a service cooperative. This cooperative provides services that individual people cannot afford, such as housing, transport, board and lodging, and restaurants. Capital is shared. Membership is open to the general public, who is a service user and provider at the same time. The producers cooperative, on the other hand, provides equipment, goods, and other services to enable the members to produce required products. Again, capital is shared. Members are producers such as farmers, fisherfolk, and craftsmen. The general public is the beneficiary of their services. There is also what is known as the workers' cooperative. This type of cooperative aims to create work through collective self-employment. They have shared capital requirement, and membership is open to persons with creative or technical skills. Services are offered to the general public. Another type of cooperative serves to market the products of its members. It is known as the marketing cooperative. Capital is shared. Members are producers of different products, and the customers are the general public. The last type of cooperative that combines all the purpose and services of all the other cooperatives is called the multi-purpose cooperative. It operates on shared capital, has the producers of different products as members, and the general public as its customer. The organizational structure. A cooperative, like any other organization, follows a systematic basic structure. But it is this structure that distinguishes the cooperative from any other group or enterprise. In a cooperative, the General Assembly has the following functions: to determine and approve amendments for a social article of the co-op constitution and bylaws, to elect and/or appoint officers and remove them for a cause, and to approve development plans. Under the General Assembly is the Board of Directors, which is the policy-making or legislative body. It should have an odd number of 5 to 15 members who will serve for 2 years. The Board of Directors has the following functions: direct and supervise the business, manage the property of the co-op, and exercise all other powers of the co-op not reserved for the General Assembly and other committees. Aligned with the Board of Directors is the Election Committee, which has 3 members. Their responsibilities include promulgation of rules and regulations in the conduct of an election, setting of qualifications of candidates, supervision of the conduct of elections, and proclamation of winning candidates. At the same level is the Supervisory Committee, which also has 3 members. They provide internal audit for the financial, management, and social impact aspects, maintain complete records of evaluation and inventory, and submit audited reports quarterly to the Board of Directors and annually to the General Assembly. The Credit Committee is created only for credit cooperatives or multi-purpose cooperatives with credit service. It takes charge of credit management, processing, and assessment approval, and has general supervision on credit services and transactions of the co-op, including collection of loans. Aside from these, other committees may be formed, which may be composed of outsiders or members appointed to perform special functions or serve as ad hoc committees. The General Manager is elected by the General Assembly. His responsibilities are as follows: to implement policies, rules, and regulations stated in the Constitution and bylaws, to manage the business, and to hire and dismiss the co-op employees subject to the policy of the board. The staff who are members or hired by the cooperative performs tasks required for the smooth operation of the cooperative. Before we end this video, let us have a brief review. Cooperatives are different from other business enterprises because of its distinctive characteristic of having the co-op member also as its owner and customer. It follows the philosophy that it exists for service and not for profit. Cooperatives also have the following principles and the corresponding practices. We also discussed the different types of cooperatives. And the overview of the cooperative's organizational structure. In the next module, You will see the steps involved in forming a cooperative.